that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both a match attending and international supporters view. Glenn, are you good?
I'm good. I had a big week at work, which is the first full week back kind of after summer break, which will sound strange to some of our Northern Hemisphere listeners. But Tottenham won. Yeah, not only did we win, we won, I thought, in a manner that was quite befitting of where the club is at in the context of what we need as players and bodies, and 3 of them are our own, and they all contributed. But how are you, mate? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm good. It's obviously been a long week. I was away for a few days. Did get to watch the whole of the game last night, and yeah, I think, all things considered, it was a pretty decent game. I think it was professional. I think first half we struggled to break them down because they just played like really, really defensively. I mean, the possession stats say a lot, right? I think it was at 81-19. I think it was something ridiculous.
81-19, and our 750 accurate passes to their 120. So that tells you everything.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think we struggled a little bit in the first half, but we were totally in control of the game for pretty much all of it. And then I don't know if they had any shots on target even.
They didn't. And I think, I was quite critical in the first half. Because I was about 50 minutes behind live because I didn't start. I went down and did a workout and stuff and just thought, well, I'll go and have some mindfulness and feel good about myself. Watching it just in case. But anyway, when I was watching it, the first half, as we went into half time, and then I stepped away and made a coffee and stuff, I was like, my biggest complaint and gripe was we were almost trying to score the perfect goal, and it was like, someone shoot, just shoot.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a fair comment. I was wrong. They did have a couple of chances, 2 shots on target apparently.
Oh, I don't remember them being.
No, they weren't.
P rollers.
Yeah, exactly. There was one weird one, wasn't there, where I think the keeper had to make a save, but I know Brandon Austin didn't really. He was lucky if he broke a sweat. I thought I'd have said he wasn't exactly super involved.
It was a few things, right? It was the perfect game in the context for Mickey van der Ven to come back and get minutes. It was clearly managed well. He did a first half, and he even said it. I don't know if you watched his interview afterwards, but he said, look, this was nowhere near the pace of the Premier League on the way that Elfsborg had set up, but he goes, it was good to get some minutes in the leg, so that was a positive.
And he looked majestic as usual.
Oh,
it's almost like it's almost like we've been playing with 10 men, and now we've got 11 men again. It just feels the difference is like night and day when he's playing.
There was a period of play down on the, I guess it would have been our left when we were attacking, and we turned the ball over and it was down on the touchline, and he just stepped in and just won the ball effortlessly, and it just looked like it was like, yes, that's all we've been missing.
And I think that's the thing, is that I think we obviously admire him for his pace and his ability to recover difficult situations for us, but he's actually a really good defender as well. I think he's a good all-round player, and the pace obviously helps, but generally I'm super happy to see him back, and I'm hopeful he can play again at the weekend, which we'll obviously come on to a little bit later.
Yeah, and just going back to the Elfsborg game, I was, as I said at the opener of this podcast, I was really, really happy to see all 3 goals come from youth products, particularly Dane Scarlett, right? He's been in and around the Tottenham team or the club for a really long time, and he's played the odd game here and there, and he's never really done much.
He's been around for 4 managers, hasn't he?
Yeah. So
maybe even 5. He must have been quite young when Poch was around, but he wouldn't have been old enough. He probably would have been about 15 at the time, I guess.
Yeah, he would have been.
He's 20 now. He's 20. So
is he 20 or 22?
He's 20.
I love 20. Well, so
because I was looking, I was trying to figure out how many teenagers we ended the game with, because I think it was 4. because we had Mikey Moore, Damola Ajayi,
Jay scored as well.
Archie Gray, and Bergvall as well. So 4 17 and 18-year-olds. Not even 19. It's nuts.
Yeah, which is... Well, it says a lot for two things, really. It says a lot for the position we're in as a club right now of injuries, but also remove the opposition. You can only beat what's put in front of you.
Yeah.
For them to be given the opportunity and to come in and actually perform, because Dane Scarlett's goal, really well taken, great ball by Kulusevski, but also for the second goal, really well worked, and he was like really involved in that.
Yeah,
a little layoff. Like, he played really well when he came on, and then it was so, I don't know. It's just, I think it's exactly what this team squad club needed. In the, yes, it was only Elfsborg. Yes, they're shit, but it was just so warming.
But it's like they've had a couple of decent wins. They're not.
Yeah.
You could see how they would frustrate teams, right? And they did. Let's be honest, they frustrated us in the first half. And actually, I think the additional energy and the running that we got from bringing the young players on is actually what helped to open them up in the end. With much more movement with them on the pitch. I mean, well, Ajayi had only been on the pitch 3 minutes when he scored, didn't he?
Correct. And it's like, for me, it was so warming and lifting, and exactly what this bloody club needs right now in terms of looking around and seeing not only the reaction of the players that got the goals and got their minutes, and one of them being a debut in Ajayi, the reaction, I don't know if you noticed, by the way, not sure what Jed Spence was wearing. I think it was a cross between Stevie Wonder and a market trader.
I think I said earlier on, like, my nan called, she wants a hat back.
But the choice of attire aside, the reaction of all of those players that weren't able to be involved was really nice to see, right? They really would seem to be in it together. So, and then just one last thing on the three of the players in the goals. Mikey Moore, he could have easily gone down and stayed down there in that moment, but he was determined, and that was quite late in the game, right? He was determined to win the ball back, or keep the ball and stay on his feet, and essentially made the goal himself. What a great finish. I want to see him start beat Brentford. I don't know if it will happen, but I want to see it happen.
I think he brings a lot. He brings a lot to the table. He's really good with the ball. He's a good dribbler, and I think sometimes you need that to kind of break through teams, especially teams that are sitting at the deepest. And we know what Brentford are going to play like. They play the same all the time, right? They're very, very much got all looked hits on the breakers, unsurprisingly, because they've had success doing it against us in the past. But yeah, similar. But yeah, super happy. Really impressed with the performance. I think obviously the one downside was that Dragosin got injured. Which,
do we know the extent of that?
I don't know. I haven't seen. I just don't think that they have a clear view on it. They were supposed to be having scans this afternoon. I don't know. I would think it's unlikely he will be ready for Sunday, but we've got Van der Ven who can play. But again, of course, we've got no cover for that. The only good thing is that we'll come on to that in a minute. But we've got the difference between this game and the game yesterday, of course, is that we've got players that are eligible to play in the league, but that weren't eligible in the UEFA. So we've got Jed Spence who can come in, and we've got another keeper that can come in as well, obviously.
And also, what that means is they've had a bit of a rest as well. Importantly, right? They've been able to rest the legs.
Yes.
And just before we move on to anything else that you wanted to cover around the Elfsborg game, and then moving on to Brentford match, one thing I wanted to touch on, Mikey Moore. I don't know if you saw this stat. I'll read it verbatim, BBC Sport. Mikey Moore is now England's youngest ever scorer in major European competition. He breaks Jimmy Greaves' record, which has stood since 1957 when Jimmy Greaves was playing for Chelsea. That is mental.
Yeah, it is.
I saw that one. Mental stat. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's weird as well, right? Because he feels like he's been around for a while now.
Yeah.
And yet he's just a kid. He's an amazing kid, but he is a kid. It was really nice to see his family there as well. They were all in the ground.
Yeah,
good for him. Good for him.
So happy for him.
They were all really humble with it. I really liked that about them. They loved it. Watching them after the match, it was really heartwarming to see them.
Yeah, no, indeed. Yeah, it's great story.
And they all interview very well, like very professional. They don't interview like a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds. They interview like seasoned pros. They obviously get really good media training. It's part of the academy.
Well, and I've had a gripe with the academy for many years because I always said the only player to really come out of it with any note was Harry Kane. Like we talked about it as this great academy and this great facility, but really we didn't produce a great deal. Like, because even if you think about, I mean, like going back to like Tom Carroll, I mean, he was great. Even Harry Winks came from it and he kind of peaked and then we moved him on a skip, you include in that cohort. So to see players come from the academy and actually contribute to the team. And look, again, I'm going to caveat with it was Elfsborg, but you can only be in what's in front of you. But that's still a big stage for them to come in. The stadium was full. We needed the win to avoid a playoff. So fair play to them. And then,
and I think that those players coming through now is off the back of a lot of work in the academy. I saw the people that they thanked, and some of them aren't even at the club anymore. Like Jermaine Defoe was really grateful. He reeled off a list of coaches that he'd worked with in the academy that all the time he'd been there. So I think the academy's in a pretty strong position now. Obviously, as you said, the difference between now and, circumstances mean that more players are getting more chances, of course. But now we know we can trust them in a bind when we're short on players, or we need them, which will bring us on to some, when we talk about transfer window activity, some really weird decisions I think that have been made. But the one thing I think you mentioned earlier is that I think now that Dane Scarlett has played for us, he can't go back out on loan this season because he can't play for 3 clubs in the same season.
And I wasn't sure if it only counted in league, but you've corrected.
I believe that's the case, that he doesn't.
He's played, and that's a positive, right? I mean, if he can come in and score a goal like that, I mean, for me, he's delivered probably. But look, that was, again, take it for what it's worth against opposition it was against. But for me, that was a better finish than Richarlison's was against Leicester.
Oh, yeah,
and then
it was.
Richarlison offered, I thought, very little against Elfsborg. So
yeah,
if Dane Scarlett can contribute to this team,
I think he's got better movement than Richarlison. Maybe Richarlison could hold the ball up better. He's a bit more of a target, but actually, the way we're trying to play, is that necessarily what we need? I don't know. But yeah, really, really positive win. Now, I guess the thing that what was weird for me was that he brought Dane Scarlett on and not Will Lancashire, who's obviously been in all this Europa squads. He played in Europa in a couple of times at least, got a goal, got sent off in the same game against Galatasaray.
Yeah.
But the weird thing, and we can come on to it when we talk about transfers, but for me, it was weird to do that. But now I think maybe it makes sense. It's almost like something had already been organised in advance and they didn't want to risk.
I think so. Before we move on to the Brentford match, just one thing to cover in terms of Europa League. The playoff, I didn't know it because I've not really been on the news this morning for me. I do know because a mate texted me, I think City have got Real Madrid in the Champions League. I haven't seen any other draw. But more importantly, on the Europa League, so we will play one of the game between AZ Alkmaar and Galatasaray, or I'm not even going to try to attempt to pronounce that. I forget how to pronounce it. But is that a Dane?
Midtjylland.
Midtjylland versus Real Sociedad. So out of those 4, I guess you'd want Midtjylland, right?
I think so. Yeah. Although we beat Alkmaar as well, right? Already, or did we draw with them? We drew, didn't we?
Drew,
but we're massively weakened. By the time we play these teams, it will be end of February, beginning of March.
You'd hope that we have a.
We should have
vote about.
We should have a. Yeah. I mean,
you want to avoid, in my view, for the fans as well. You don't want to be going to Turkey. I tell you what, though, just looking at that draw, I tell you what, that's a spicy game. Porto versus Roma.
Yeah, I know. That could be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Who else? Fenerbahce, Anderlecht. Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. But if you look at the teams that are left, we got a decent chance. And it's interesting. But like I would have said that Ajax would have been one of the higher seeded teams, but they're in the playoffs, so they didn't make the top 8.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah. Speaking of Ajax, I saw your Henderson loving attacks. Loves to evade a bit of tax. He's off to Monaco.
Yeah. It's like, how do I get all of my Saudi money to an offshore account? I know, I'll go and play for Monaco. So that's the other thing. Like, 3 British teams in the top 8 in the end. So Manu, us and Rangers made it as well, which is pretty impressive for them.
Well,
considering they've had an absolutely abysmal league season, they've done very well in Europa.
No, correct. And it's less of a burden on the players for games we've got to play. We've narrowed the last 16. So, yeah, onwards. Let's hope that we can progress in that. So speaking of onwards, let's have a look at the Brentford match. I've got, I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe it's just blind optimism. We've lost so many bloody games. I just think it's time for a win. I've got a feeling we're going to go there.
Honestly, we are the most bipolar supporters, aren't we?
Yeah, we certainly are. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe it's just the positive move from the kids doing it against Elfsborg.
It's your 6 a.m. run on the beach followed by a 3-0 win with the kids scoring. We're going to win everything.
We're going to win everything now. But I've just got a feeling it's time. We're going to get a result away to Brentford. I think we're going to beat them. But let's go back to the team that can play. So obviously we do have some more players available because they're eligible for Europe. But then we did lose Dragusin, and we're unsure on what his prognosis is, right?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. He didn't look comfortable. I would say unlikely to be available. Even if it was just a knock, I don't think he's going to play on Sunday. And when we've got options, then I don't see the need to risk him either, which is a weird thing to say. Not having options seems to be a fairly fresh thing for us. So I think Keatske probably in goal.
Yeah.
I don't think the Vicario... for some reason, I saw that Vicario's back in training, but I'm not sure maybe there's a long way between being in training and being match fit. But yeah, I think Keatske will play. We've got no Dragusin, no Dogi, no Romero. I expect Porro, Van der Ven. Then the question is, right, do you have like Ben Davies play next to him? Because actually they're both kind of left-sided, or do you have...
Both left-sided, yeah.
Maybe Archie Gray?
You'd probably go with Archie Gray just from...
Or Jed Spence maybe even. He's played centre-back as well, hasn't he?
I mean, Basuma ended up slotting in there on Thursday night, didn't he?
Yeah, because the only spare defender we had went off injured. We'd taken off Van der Ven.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. But yeah, I think that's an option. I wouldn't expect Basuma to do it. There's enough defenders there that will cobble together a back four. And I feel
I'd really like to see Spence play in his actual natural position of right back or right wing back or whatever it is, right sided.
It's an option, right? We could drop Porro, he could play that side, and we could play Ben Davies at left back, and then play Archie Gray and Van der Ven, the centre backs.
Yeah, that's another option. Yeah, so
because actually Porro's not really had a rest. He could probably do with a rest as well.
I mean, just getting Van der Ven back in the knock-ins for playing is just huge, right? As you said, on the pitch, it just gives you something that we clearly missed. And then, going into the midfield, right?
Yeah.
If this is correct, the only injury we've actually got a player would be Maddison, right? Even though you kind of lose Archie Gray out of that as an option because he's going to play and defend.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, Matasar played on Thursday, as did Basuma. He came on. Archie Gray played. Bergvall played. Bentancur played. So they've all had different amounts of minutes in that game. I guess it will be... I would expect Bentancur to start. Probably Bergvall as well, and maybe Sarr as a 3.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Kulusevski, I don't know whether he'll play him further up the pitch because we've got, obviously... When we look at the forward numbers, it's worse, right? We've got much more injuries in the attacking sense than we do in kind of more defensive midfielder roles.
And going back to what Dave Scarlett did, this is why it's so great that he's come on and delivered in a game because, if we need a goal made of Brentford, then he's got 20 minutes to go, put him on. He mixes it up, he played well, and then the same goes for Mikey Moore. I'd actually start Moore, and I dare say it, I'd start him over Sutton, but I don't think he'd ever do that.
Yeah, I think there will be games where it would make sense. I think Son, you can tell almost within 10 minutes of him playing in a match whether he's really up for it or not. he had a cut. He played really well in the first half at Leicester. I thought he looked really up for it, and then he just faded, just disappeared very quickly. But yeah, from the kind of forward line, I would expect. We've got Werner out, Yangman Hook. Obviously, we mentioned, I think, in the last pod that he's gone on loan to QPR. So again, why are we having players out where we've got such a problem with injuries? Because we've got Solanke injured, Johnson injured, Odobert injured. Will Lancashire today has gone out on loan to West Brom.
West Brom, yeah.
And the only thing I can think of with that is that had already been agreed on yesterday. And
it had to have.
And that's the reason that Dane Scarlett played. And because we know now that stops him from playing for another team. So it makes sense if you've got to have someone loaned out, that Will Lancashire gets the remainder of the season out on loan and plays more games, which is probably not a bad thing. So I think it was really just a straight swap between the two of them about who goes out on loan. Maybe it was maybe they'd agreed it in advance. Maybe it was an agreement that they'd had. You do the first half on loan and Dane comes back for the second half. Who knows?
Yeah. It's quite. But actually, that's a fair shout. It could have, right? It could have.
I don't think we need backup, but the problem is, we've had 2 matches at Richarlison already, and I've got a horrible feeling he'll do some kind of injury in the third one, because it seems to be the way of things. But we'll see.
So I think from a prediction point of view, and Brentford and the team, we've obviously gone through the team from a scoreline and what's going to actually happen in the game. As I said, I don't know where this optimism is coming from. I think it's more born out of just pure desperation that we need a win in the league. I've just got a feeling we're going to get the win. I think we're going to win 2-1. I just want 6 more points just so I can stop looking over my shoulder.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I actually think that Brentford are pretty decent at home. I think
they are.
This is going to be a tough game. I would take a draw. I'd take a 2-2 draw. Or score draw. Yeah. I can't see it.
Because Leicester are playing Everton, Wolves are at home to Villa, and Ipswich are at home to Southampton. So you back Ipswich to get the results. That'll put them on 19. Wolves, Villa, it's at Wolves, but I can see Villa winning that. And then Leicester, Everton, we probably want that to be a draw.
Yeah.
Really. And then West Ham, they go to Chelsea. So if we can get the win, by virtue of our goal difference, we shoot up above West Ham and Palace, who play Man United. So Man United are in and around us as well. So we just need points, right? But I hope that we get the win, and I hope I'm right. But look, pivoting away from Brentford, which viewing experience, it's away, so you won't be attending. I'll be watching on delay. It's a 1 a.m. Monday morning for me, so I'll be watching it. Probably starting around 7:30 Monday morning. What about yourself? Is it on TV in England?
Oh, I haven't even looked. It will be on somewhere. I'm sure I'll find it.
You'll find it. You'll find it.
But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. It's like 2 o'clock kickoff then on Sunday.
2 p.m. Correct.
Yeah. It's a bit of it's usually a 50-50 whether it's the televised game or not. Like there's a couple of times you think it's the better game, and then you look at what they've chosen, and you think, why? But anyway. I'll be watching for sure.
Well, let's hope that we get the win, and maybe the kids will feature. Maybe Mikey Moore will actually start. Maybe he'll surprise us, and maybe we'll see more from Dane Scarlett. He's obviously got some confidence. Like I hope we do. I hope that breathes some new life into this season by virtue of kids energy. And so I've just looked. By the way, I've got a nice little neat app which is called Live Soccer TV. It's on Sky.
Oh, is it?
Sky Sport. Yeah, Sky Sport made of it.
One.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I shall be watching that on Sky Sports.
And then
other services are available.
Yeah, indeed. And then pivoting away from games, or all importantly, I don't know if we're seeing new players in the door by then, but transfer activity. So
I admire your optimism.
So Tell, as you said, the more chance of getting William Tell. That proved to be the case. He's not just back.
And even better, I then saw someone put William Tell, as in someone who agreed to sign for us and then pissed off to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Was good. Yeah, so I was never optimistic about that one, I've got to be honest. And when it all suddenly looked like, well, this could be interesting, I just felt like he wasn't interested in coming to us. It would have happened a lot quicker, I think, if that was the case. So yeah, And again, but also it's, we're going to pay 60 million euros on him. It's a big chunk of change. And to spend it on somebody who's not that interested would have been stupid, I think. But I hope that wasn't their only option, because we're still short. I mean, we've got Werner injured, Solanke injured, Johnson injured, Odegaard injured. We've got 2 other players out on loan. The weird thing is the squad's kind of reversed, right? We had a period where we couldn't put a back 4 together, and we're even struggling to get a goalkeeper. But now they're all coming back, and we've got the opposite problem. So midfield, we're pretty good. We've got pretty good midfield at the moment, but in the forward positions, we're down to the bare bones again.
So we had interest in Wissa, but I think it would have happened by now, right? To your point.
Well, again, I think that'll be a big chunk of change. I think
25 million is what I heard. Yeah,
really. I feel like it'd be more. I don't think they need to sell. I think we'd have to pay double that to get him out of there.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Which I don't think is good value, by the way. But again, I think it's the wrong Brentford player if we're going to get a player out of Brentford.
How old is this? I'm just looking. 28. So yeah, I mean his market value
maybe
on form. Yeah, 24 million. So
it doesn't feel like I can't see. This is really. It's the kind of player we need, right? An experienced international with Premier League experience, 28, come in as a senior in the squad. But I don't think it's someone that Levy would agree to sign.
Doesn't seem
no reason.
Doesn't seem to fit.
He's all about future value, right?
And then we've got Tomori, who I think we've only shown interest in based off of Dragastin's injury, which tells me it might be longer term than we feared. So Tomori, but again, he's reluctant, it would seem.
Isn't he? I'm trying to remember when he's played for England. Isn't he left-sided again?
I think so, because pull it
again. That feels odd. That we'd end up with Van der Ven, him, and as a cover we'd have Ben Davies.
Well, and Ben Davies, I think, will end up going in the summer anyway.
Yeah, but
right now,
the issues are now, right? If we were going to get it, I think we need especially with Dragastin out, we need a right-sided centre back.
Yeah,
maybe as a loan rather than a permanent.
And then obviously moving up the pitch with Will Lancashire off to West Brom, which has happened, and then Min Ho.
That's nuts, right? I know we talked about it, and maybe I can justify it based on he needs game time, but why hasn't he been getting the game time? There's been opportunities where we've needed an attacking player, and he played bloody Dragastin up front in one game.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. He just doesn't think he's ready at all, and he needs more game time somewhere else, or I don't know. I just don't know. Just doesn't like him.
But the other way it all makes sense is if come Monday before the deadline, when the deadline's closed, if we've signed an attacking player, then maybe you can look at it and say, well, we wanted those two out the door to bring in this one. Maybe. And apparently we're in for, there's interest in Garnacho, and you were tying together their interest in Tell as maybe being a reason.
You could kind of draw the line between the dots on those ones. It feels like that would be a good fit. I think they were talking about 50 million for Garnacho, which is not much difference to Tell, and I actually think he's a better player, and he's younger.
Well, Garnacho, if he's anything, he's proven in the Premier League, right? He's done it.
Exactly, yeah.
And he's only 20.
As an option. But then the thing I was thinking about Tell anyway, doesn't he play left-sided attacking?
He does.
Same as Son, same as Mikey Moore, same as Oliver, and so we're building a very it's like the left-handed union.
Yeah, and he's signed a new contract, but maybe Son is going in the summer. I don't know.
The rumours have been circling again, right? And if you think about it, we've extended his contract, which gives us another year, which actually gives us a bit of bargaining to sell him rather than to let him go on a free.
Correct.
So maybe the idea is that he goes to Saudi or goes somewhere else that he wants to play, and we get a transfer fee for him.
Quite possibly.
Do you know what? I think it's time, because I think we've seen his performance levels drop off this season significantly, I think, and I would hate him to deteriorate even further and it be like painful to watch.
Yeah.
So I would rather he win out on a high, you know, when I play somewhere decent where he can roast a couple of Saudi Arabian fullbacks, and score half a dozen goals a game. But I don't know.
Well, and before we wrap up, the other player that we've been linked with is Axel Diassi on loan, who's one of the Chelsea players. Now, of course, any of these players we just listed, it could all change in the next 24 hours because it's Tottenham, right? So, but he seems to be a player that can play left back, right back, centre back. So maybe it's between Diassi or Tomori. Maybe they view Diassi as a cheaper option.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we get him on permanent, right? Because he's probably on one of those mental Chelsea 8-year deals or something, isn't he?
Yeah, it must be. He has to be, yeah. But he's played, I mean, he got 13 minutes against Wolves, and he played the full, so he'd be cup tied for FA Cup because he played the full 90 in their FA Cup game against Morecambe.
Yeah.
He's getting, I mean, he got 77 minutes over the Christmas period against Ipswich. So who knows? Let's see how it plays out. But as I said, it's Tottenham, so it could all change very quickly. But no, I didn't have a great deal else to cover other than just going back again to here's one to the kids. Thanks for the youth to step up and lift the mood, and let's hope we see some more of them featuring against maybe Brentford or beyond. I don't know if you had anything more, Graham, other than that we're looking at some more guests as always. We've got I need to set it up, but we're going to have some fun guests in a couple of weeks, I think. Yun and Ken, both based in Colorado, but how they met was through supporting Tottenham. So that's always a nice story.
Yeah. So we could do with some good news Tottenham stories. They're few and far between at the moment. So looking forward to that.
No, indeed.
So yeah, all good. So I think that Diassi, you know, I don't know what to expect. He's a decent sized kid, right? He's 6'3". Be good fit.
See if we can.
I mean, is it Mondays? Is it the window?
Monday 11 p.m. UK time? Yeah.
Okay. So the only thing is, I noticed that the Saudi window's already closed today.
Yeah.
So that we can't offload anyone to Saudi for big bucks if we were thinking about it. Yeah, we'll see. I guess.
Indeed.
I'm not optimistic of us getting someone that's going to materially change our season. Let's put it that way.
Oh, and I think it's basically right now it's covering the damage that's happened, and it's more just batten down the hatches and try and get some points on the board with a view to if we can win the Carling Cup or League Cup, whatever it's called now. Brilliant. But
the other people we were linked with obviously were for the summer anyway, which again, we're looking too far in the distance when the problem's right in front of you. But hey,
indeed. Well, on that note, as always, come on, you Spurs.
Thanks for everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Tottenham supporters. And to close us out, as Glenn said, come on, you Spurs. You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day.